Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the first edition of the Are We Recording Yet podcast here. I'm here with a few of my friends. Bradley, how are we doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, except Iowa lost Michigan State. So pretty bummed.
Yeah, I can imagine. Iowa, are they good at basketball this year?
It's a new thing, so I don't know.
Okay, all right, sounds about right. Joshua, how you doing today?
I'm great. How about you?
Good. I'm actually all right. I'm doing okay.
That's good.
Yeah. Iowa lost to Michigan State, so you know, that's always good.
No,
Ryan from Nebraska, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. I found out that we have a basketball team tonight, so I'm pretty psyched up about that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you guys had internet there, so.
We just got it the other day. Like, it's great.
Where the fuck is Nebraska at?
It's between Minnesota and New England, I believe.
It's holding America together, you guys.
Sure. Chris, how are we doing today?
Pretty good. I'm wearing a non-Nike Oregon shirt, so that probably means I no longer have a degree from Oregon.
What? They
Those
make
even
those?
exist.
I'm wearing a non-Nike Oregon shirt. It's not made by Nike, so it's kind of like counterfeit, and probably means that Phil Knight's mad at me.
What is it? Is it Adidas?
I don't even know. I could look. Maybe.
All right. I didn't even know they made non-Nike Oregon shirts. That must be an old school one, huh?
It is. It's some company I've never heard of before.
Fila.
Tropical Edge or something.
FUBU.
We talking the Oregon game, you guys.
North Pole.
Echo.
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 These fucking Echo teams on Madden were the shit.
Oh
yeah.
All right, so a lot of things going on in the NFL this week. Obviously, Super Bowl week. We'll save that for another time. But there's also Roger Goodell brought up something interesting. He said maybe we can do away with the extra point. He said, we want all our plays to be exciting, and that's not exciting, obviously, because no one's ever gotten excited about an extra point. So what do we think? Josh, what do we think about that? You got an opinion on?
Yeah, I say don't fucking mess with it.
Yeah.
I don't see the point of getting rid of it.
Well, I
don't see the point of getting rid of it. I just don't really. It's an extra point. Why not just keep it there? No one's getting hurt.
Okay.
It still has some. I don't know. It comes down to extra point. I guess it's pretty much automatic, but.
Yeah, it is. That's one of the things he said. He said there was only 5 missed out of 1,200 or something like that.
I think that's what they said.
Does everyone agree? What does everybody else think?
I disagree that they should get rid of it simply because the way that Goodell phrased why they want to get rid of it is like he said it's not exciting, but he also said that they want to reduce the chance of injury on a meaningless play. And for me, that's okay, so why don't we say when teams get inside the 20 that you just give them 3 points because that's automatic too, and then we won't have injury on that.
Nah, but that's a little more arbitrary than something that literally, if you go into the numbers, it's automatic.
Okay, but
besides your obvious
well, if you
misses.
say that, if they want to say it's about injuries, then I want to see something that says how many players got injured severely on extra points the last 5 seasons. I'm guessing it's not very many, and I hope they don't get rid of the extra point, and I hope that the Super Bowl comes down to a missed extra point, because then they totally can't do away with it. They can't do away with it. If Denver wins by 1 because Seattle botches an extra point or vice versa, they can't get rid of it.
You know what? I personally, well, Brad, what do you think? I'll say mine.
I think it's just taking away a huge part of the game. It kind of really limits kickers to being necessary for the game. Kickoffs are important, but, the 1 point there, what else are they good for? You're just going to eliminate that position, basically.
Yeah.
Well, the way I think of it is Chris, what do you think? You agree or no?
I actually like the idea that some of the SB Nation people proposed, which they won't ever do. It's you kick the extra point wherever you think you can make it from, and then you get to kick off from that spot going back the other way. So if you kick it from the 20, then you kick off from the 20.
Okay.
I'd be in favor of them moving the extra point back to the 10-yard line. make it less automatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. But the thing is, the way I look at it is, I think, I don't know if you guys remember playing Blitz on 64, but I think they had
Oh yeah.
it. I mean, I think they
It
had it
was
right. I mean,
automatic.
the extra point's pretty much free, but if you want to go for 2, you're more than welcome to. I personally, I love it. I think it's great. I think like you said, it adds more excitement of the play. I mean, most of the time an extra point.
I don't think
When's
it
the last
will.
time you paid attention to an extra point?
I don't think it will
Well, I
add
think
more
it'll
excitement because
play.
they're not going to go for 2 all the time.
Well, that's the thing is I think that they just go for 2 at the same rate that they go for 2 now. I don't think it would
And-
change that, but it would just eliminate. It would eliminate a pointless play. I think that. I mean, what the hell's the point of an extra point? I don't know.
Well, they'll just
It's
give
so automatic.
Yeah, I understand that, but then you could. I mean, it's not automatic though. It's like it could happen that you could miss it, and that's a big thing. Is if you miss and like let's take the New Orleans Jacksonville game, like from 10 years ago. If there's no extra point, that game goes to overtime. But instead, they miss the extra point after all those crazy laterals, and Jacksonville still wins the game.
Right.
but-
So, I mean, I know that doesn't happen very often, but you take away that chance of that happening, and I like that the kickers are kind of involved in that because there are times where, even if they don't miss it, it's close. It still adds a little bit of drama. So you kind of take the drama out of it. So yeah, for the 99% of them that are meaningless, you get rid of that, but you also get rid of that 1% chance where you have a meaningful extra point, and then that's just gone.
I mean, I know what you're saying, but at the same time, wouldn't you have liked to have seen overtime in that game on the same
Well,
like wavelength?
who knows? Because that's Jacksonville and New Orleans in 2003. Those are 2 subpar teams. Do you really want to see that team? No one remembers that game if it goes to overtime because who cares? But since it's the crazy ending and the mixed extra point, it still gets brought up on every time a Sports Center does a top 10 chokes list. That plays on there. So it's something where if the extra point's gone, that game is not even remembered. Other than, well, look how this game got sent to overtime.
Romo fumbling the snap.
Yeah, but that was a field goal, I think. I don't think that was a
Was it a field goal?
PAT. I'm pretty sure that was a field goal. It was just a short one.
No, well then, that was pointless.
If he does change it, no one's gonna give a fuck. I mean, give it a few months, people are gonna be pissed off, and then months after.
Yeah,
that's the-
I mean,
it's not too
I think
much
that's
of a
the thing is,
change, but
I'm resistant to it because it's just I don't that's how everyone's grown up with
Traditionalist,
football is you
yeah,
kick the
yeah.
extra point, so it's going to be different and weird seeing it, but we'll adapt. In 5 years, people will be like, hey, remember when they kick extra points? And we'll be like, oh yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah, and then they're going to be like, that was dumb. Why did we do that? Well, okay, how long do you think it would take say, let's hypothetically, if it were to happen, how long would it take to trickle down to college? Or would it trickle down to college? do you think?
2 years
Eventually.
back, if
Yeah, I
not the
would-
next season.
I would say very soon after.
I'm surprised that college hasn't adapted the. What was there something that the NFL just changed? Oh no, they already did. They moved the kickoffs back to the 35. Once the
Well, here's-
the NFL did.
Here's the thing: with college, kickers are much more of a mystery, even on extra
Yeah,
points. I don't
yeah.
have the numbers in front of me, but I'm assuming that there were
yeah, that's true too.
many more,
Well, there's also
at least in percentage, many more missed extra points in college
Yeah.
than there was in the
Yeah,
pros.
and you got to remember, there's more teams. There's more kickers to miss extra points.
Yeah, that's what I mean by even a proportional percentage. I bet
Yeah.
it's even much
Yeah.
higher.
I understand what you're saying, and yeah, that's true because there's always hashtag college kickers every time a kicker misses a kick in college on Twitter. That's all you see, and it's probably true, and and that's probably where I'm deriving this from because I like college football more than pro. So if college gets rid of it, I think you're really taking away something because college it can get spotty on the extra point.
Chris, what do you think?
I think college they definitely have a chance of missing, which doesn't seem to be very much the case in the NFL. Of course, one exception would be the Philadelphia-Detroit game this year.
But that was also played
Oh,
in
yeah.
8 inches
That was
of
that was yeah,
8
that
feet
was
of snow.
That was blizzard conditions too. The only other thing, if they don't move it back and they don't, they could move it back and then bring in the uprights narrow the uprights a little more. I don't know if that would really.
Eh,
At that point, you're better off just getting rid of the extra point.
Or
Yeah,
keep
You're
it,
going to do
yeah.
that.
you're getting a little more extreme if you do something.
But I
like that.
I don't want them to go like indoor football league short or narrow. If you remember that, it was like 2 inches wide it seems, and kickers were
fucking
always
shit.
missing.
I mean, I personally like it just because, honest to God, like it's a waste of time anyway. Everybody gets up after the touchdown. Nobody's like, oh, well, got to stay for the extra point. I've never heard anyone.
I don't understand the injury part, though. I feel like there would be less injuries on a routine extra point compared to someone going for 2 every time.
Well,
I agree
yeah,
with
but
that.
they're not gonna go for 2 every time. They're just gonna. Knock
Yeah, you
out
get the 7. Yeah, I know, but then you get like Chip Kelly. I don't know. You get teams starting 2, 3 yards away, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the numbers say, and I'm kind of like in like up to date on the whole analytics side of football, more so in basketball or baseball, but football I'm still catching up. I think like don't the numbers say to like that going for 2 is like the smarter thing to do?
Yeah, but they
Or-
also say that going for it on 4th down past your own 35 is what you should do. But
Yeah, well, I mean,
past
I
your
don't.
own 45 or something like that.
Go
But
for it every motherfucking time.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too. I'm
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of going for it.
but you won't see coaches do that because
Yeah,
numbers
yeah,
don't
yeah.
get fired.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you miss
no, that's true.
if you miss a 2-point play, or if this passes, it'll be a 1-point play. In the first quarter, and you lose by a point, or you lose because of that, then you don't get to go to the press conference and say, well, the numbers say that going for it would have been far. That doesn't fly.
Yeah,
But yeah, you're probably right. Is that the percentage-wise, you're better off going for 2 or going for the extra point. Than just kicking the point after touchdown. But most coaches probably won't until you get like a big shift, in coach thinking that won't happen. Like think about what Chip Kelly went through this season, just running a different offense than the NFL is used to seeing. And by week 4, he was being like scrutinized as this thing is a huge bust. And then they go to the playoffs and he's a genius.
But wasn't he supposed to like come in and go for 2 every time and go for it on 4th
'cause
down every time?
Well, I mean, just the spread and the hurry up. People are like, well, this isn't going to work. Then they go out and beat Washington, and people are like, oh, this might work. And then they go on this losing streak, and people are doubting him completely. And by the time they make the playoffs, it's Chip Kelly. It might work out. So that shift in thinking probably won't come quick. As far as it's better off going for 2, and it's better off going for it on 4th down once you're past the field.
Well, Brett, what do you think in terms of like? I guess would you say that this is going to encourage coaches to go for 2 more, or do you think it's going to just stay exactly the same? And everybody else can chime in too.
Well, I don't know. I think it will be a very marginal increase, if at all, because, I mean, there's still the loss. If you go for it and don't get it, it drops down to 6 and 7 guaranteed points. I mean, it's almost a guarantee now, so I don't really think you're making that big of a jump with that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. It could almost be like a novelty thing that coaches are, well, this is different. We can, more packages and specific plays for these 2-point conversions. But, it's pretty much up in the air at this point.
Yeah, I tend to agree on that. Chris, what do you think?
I think it'll probably be pretty much like it is now, where they'll just take the points most of the time, but if they need to catch up or whatever, they might, or they get into a situation where going for 2 would be smarter, they probably will go, but probably not very much more than they do now.
Right, and that's why I think
Until,
it's
of course, as we were saying before, coaching philosophies could change in the future and get more aggressive, and then you might see it more.
right. Like because you can get the case of Ron Rivera, who, I mean, some would say saved his job by
That's
going for it on
ridiculous,
4th
yeah.
down. I mean, Josh, you were there, you
Well-
saw it, you watched it.
It's funny because we went to the Seahawks game. My brother's not a big fan of him, and I don't know if it's, I don't know. People like continuity and all that stuff, but after they lost the Seahawks, we were right near the tunnel. My brother said, "Enjoy it while it lasts." But it's just funny to see how crazy he was about to get fucking literally 1-3, about to get fired. Every one of them gone, and now he's got a 3-year fucking extension.
Yeah, it's
I
crazy.
don't know.
I
would've
mean,
waited a little bit, but-
are there reports? So I mean, because I'm going to be honest with you, I will watch one Panthers game this year, and it was the
Yeah.
playoff game, so I can't really be that versed in it. But did he really go for it on fourth down?
Yeah, he
more?
had some. I don't know what the stats was. It was something. Yeah, it was a pretty good percentage. But after I think it was one of the Cardinals games, something like that, he just started going for it all the time, and we needed a few times to win some games, and it worked out. But I would have personally waited. I mean, I don't think we've had a back-to-back winning season. I think in the whole franchise.
You mean
like
waited
that.
on the extension?
I would have waited a year. He had one more year on his contract. See how he'd done next year before extending. But people like coaches staying. I don't know. You know what you got in the future, I guess. But
Yeah, that's true.
I think they said. I mean, it's a good point. They said last time when they lost to Cardinals when Delhomme threw fucking however many interceptions that
All of them.
all of
yeah,
them.
name drop. First name drop of the podcast.
They said that feeling was more of an end, but now losing this game was more of like, no, we got more of a base. We have more of a solid team now to build upon. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. You got fucking Lovie Smith down in Tampa Bay now.
Yeah, my old boy. He's gonna do
I like
great
that.
down there.
Yeah, I like that.
He's gonna do awesome down there. I don't know how he didn't get a job. I mean, he probably was just collecting his check from the Bears and didn't really want to worry about it. But he's gonna do great down there.
Yeah, I don't like that for NFC South. But
Yeah, that division is going to be ridiculous next year. Especially if the Falcons are obviously going to get better because they're not
They
as
have
bad as
to.
but
They have to get better because they're not as bad as what they were this year.
they had. I think they overachieved
kinda-
a little bit the year before,
Oh yeah, but they're not as bad as they were.
and I think Roddy White's
Yeah, they're kind of a cheat from last.
jumped the shark a little bit,
yeah,
to say the least, I guess.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that also could be the fact that he was
Yeah.
getting the double teams, and he's just not good enough to beat double teams anymore after
There was
Julio.
so
went
much
down.
talks
They got
about them
Julio.
fucking too. God damn, people were calling them like the best duo, wide receiver duo, and all that. They got so excited when they had that season.
My boy Julio, man, that's my dude.
Julio's boss.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so basically, I think what we've come to the consensus is that we all kind of are. At least I am. I'm very. I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal as people are really making it out to be. More or less, I think that if it were to pass, I think people would just forget that they cared about it in 2 weeks. Does everyone else kind of agree?
I
Yeah,
agree with
I agree
that.
with
I
that.
just don't. Me personally, I don't want to see it change. But if they do change it, I'm not going to be like, well, I'm not watching football anymore.
Right.
I'll just
Yeah,
be
I
like,
won't-
well, that's new, and I'll deal with it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You can't make a change like that without somebody disagreeing
No.
with it.
Yeah.
It's impossible. All right, so another thing, they're coming out. I read a story about this medicinal marijuana thing, and,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
your boy Pete Carroll is super into it. What do you guys think? Is it because they do drug tests for it, so I think that it'll come to a time where it's tough to. It might come to a case where somebody gets caught with it, and then they say it was for medicinal purposes, and it was really for
Pharmacy,
recreational. So, what do you guys think? Ryan, you started off.
Just to clarify, Pete Carroll's not just like, I want all my players to smoke weed.
Well,
He was talking more of it in the sense that if they're going to use it to treat injuries, and quite honestly, I don't care. The majority of the league's players probably use marijuana in one capacity or another. So you might as well make it a substance that is, if it's okay to use in the state with a medical license, it's okay for them to use, don't test for it. As long as, it's being regulated in some sense. That's
Brad, what do you
probably
think?
That's probably all most coaches ask for, but I don't care if players are using marijuana.
Yeah, I agree with that. And when you look at America as a whole for the recreational use, I think it's just a matter of time. It really doesn't make that big of a difference to me either way. But if it's already medically approved, I don't see any reason why the players wouldn't be able to use it. But Pete Carroll might have some vested interest with Percy Harvin, so
that's true. Seriously.
Good point.
migraines.
He's smoking it right now.
Yeah, absolutely he is. He probably, he lives in Washington now, so I'm sure he's yeah. Chris, what do you think? What's your stance on this whole medicinal marijuana in the NFL thing?
If they want to use it, it's fine. I just think it's slightly dangerous to go just state by state, because that's not entirely fair for like teams in like Texas that may never get medicinal marijuana. They might be at kind of a disadvantage there, and you probably want to go like the entire league or none of the league, and not some people can and some people can't.
I was gonna mention that too, because you'll probably have a coach like Pete Carroll who doesn't care, and then you'll probably have a coach like Tom Coughlin who will have a strict no substance abuse policy. And when you have free agents coming up, you better be certain that there are going to be players thinking about, if I go play for this coach, he's not going to let me smoke weed. Like, not to be like that's all that players care about, but I bet there's probably like a small number of players that would make a decision based on, is this coach going to let me smoke marijuana or not?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing. I think that the only problem with this whole, I think this won't even be a thing until it becomes a federal law where medicinal marijuana is okay.
Yeah, it's going to have to wait for the...
Like, I think that this got brought up just because it's Super Bowl Media Day.
And it's Denver and Seattle.
Everyone's looking for and everyone's looking for a story because the stories have been told millions of times. And also, you got to understand that we're also all in the younger generation, so we're probably a little more open-minded than someone like, is someone who's 50 years old and has been, anti-pot their whole life. And then, all of a sudden, the NFL players are, smoking pot all the time, and so, they watch CNN, and CNN tells them that everyone's a pothead in the NFL, and all of a sudden they don't like the NFL. I don't know. Maybe I'm overreacting a bit. Josh, what do you think?
I think
Weigh in on this.
Nancy Grace needs a big fat blonde. That's what she needs. No, I don't know. I think it'll wait until federal policy rolls through everywhere. It's not. I don't think NFL is not going to set like some precedent of.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Great point. It's going to have to literally be almost forced on the NFL, because the NFL is not going to be like, it's not going to associate itself with marijuana willingly.
Okay, well let's put ourselves in a hypothetical world where that is a federal law. Like, do you guys think that is going to become
I think
a thing?
it'll follow.
Absolutely.
Because by the time all 50 states or whatever have it, it'll be like 2025, 2030. I don't know.
It'll just be a thing where the NFL won't, crack down on it. They're not going to be like pro pot, but they're not going to crack down.
Well,
now, if a player gets in, they'll probably have rules in place where if a player gets in trouble with pot, then they can suspend him or deal with them accordingly. But they're not going to test for it or whatever.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is here's my boy Bomani Jones, who's actually blocked me on Twitter. I hope one day he can unblock me. But he at Batty Smalls, hit me up. He brought up a point on Around the Horn today. I saw it was kind of interesting. I liked it. He said, why don't we just stop testing for it?
And that's probably what we'll come to, I think, is if medicinal becomes legal in all 50 states, they'll just stop testing for it.
Because that's why the NBA doesn't have the drug tests, is because every single player would, and I guess not every single player, I don't mean to group them all together, but most of them would probably test positive for pot. That's like just kind of, that's the lifestyle. That's just what they're living. That's one of the reasons they don't test. That's because they don't want every single one of their players coming up positive.
And that's why I don't have a big deal with if even if it's not legal in all 50 states, or they say if it's I don't care, because they're doing it already. So I don't care. I'm not ignorant to it, basically.
Marshawn Lynch was stoned as hell today at a fucking
What about him? Like, do you guys? I'm totally like
fast lane.
I am so cool with Marshawn Lynch, like not talking to me.
I liked it.
What was this quote? I'm all about that action, boss, or something like that.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you want your bell cow running back to be all about?
Yeah. He fucking runs like it.
Definitely. Yeah.
Here's the thing. If I was a player and I had to deal with all this media nonsense, which I would hate, I feel like that would be the thing I hate the most. Like, wouldn't you pay the like $50K a year to not ever speak to the media? I feel like I would.
Yeah.
But,
You know?
Here's the problem is that Super Bowl Media Day is not just it's not just like the writers that always cover the NFL. Clearly, anyone could get a press pass for Super Bowl Media Days. As long as you have a pulse and a Wi-Fi connection and some place to post your article, you can get a press pass. So basically, you have to answer all these stupid questions from people who don't normally follow the NFL. I wouldn't want to do that either. I wouldn't want to be Richard Sherman having to field a question about why do pro athletes turn girls into strippers. That was a question he was asked today.
Yeah.
That's not a Super Bowl question.
But
You're
is it a
focusing on the biggest game of your life right now. You don't want to answer a stupid question like that.
Is it a must-win game though? I don't know.
Yeah. No, we'll get him next year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is like,
Well, I don't want to say it's a must-win game, but it's pretty important.
How did he
You got a
respond to
lot.
that?
Seriously, and they're
Yeah.
asking Peyton Manning like, what's his favorite like reality show? Like, what are you talking about?
Exactly.
Like,
and if I was a coach, I would hate, some of these, you would absolutely, I'm sure these coaches hate doing this because this is time that they could spend in film and practice or just having some off time. And instead they got to stand in the Prudential Center for however long and answer stupid questions that everyone already knows the answer to. Like,
Right.
what was the last time you heard
Fucking
a hard-hitting, hot-take question at Super Bowl Media Days?
never, because they've been asked for 19
Like,
weeks at that
Well,
point.
exactly. And the last time you really had a big story at Super Bowl Media Days was like, I can't remember what Super Bowl it was, but it was ever when Bill Romanowski spit in J.J. Stokes' face or something. And
Yeah.
AJ
and they asked Shannon Sharp how he felt about that. That was like 15 years ago, and that was literally the last relevant Super Bowl Media Days.
Did you guys see what the whole Warren Sapp Michael Strahan thing? I got like a couple notifications from ESPN about that today.
No, I haven't heard anything about that.
That was Michael Strahan, or Warren Sapp said that Strahan's his like Hall of Fame resume doesn't stack up or whatever. He doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame. And Strahan said the lion doesn't speak to the sheep or something like that.
Fucking Sherman said. I think that was Sherman.
They're both Super Bowl winners, and they both had great careers. They both belong in the Hall of Fame.
But that's the thing is like days like Super Bowl Media Day like
well, yeah,
lead
that's
to
just crazy.
stuff like this.
It's manufactured stories. It's so the press creates stories. Michael Strahan is the press.
Right. He's the
And
media
Warren
now.
Sapp-
They both are.
Warren Sapp is the media. He's the press. They're creating these stories. Like, if I'm Warren Sapp and Michael Strahan, I'm not surprised that they're in the back rooms of NFL Network and Fox, like, creating these stories. Like, you know how we're going to get on the Super Bowl broadcast this year? I got an idea.
Right. So, lately, Bradley's favorite player in the league, Kevin Durant, he's been I guess lighten it up is a loose term to use. What he's been doing lately.
Perfect segue.
On fire.
And thank you. I
Yeah,
know what the
that was a great segue. I mean,
yeah, and so what do you guys think about? I mean, he's doing something that we haven't really seen since when Kobe was playing with Smush Parker and the boys. And nobody else. Like he's doing. I mean, does this matter? Does this mean anything? Like, does this? Brad, what do you think? That's your boy.
Well, I mean, of course it matters. If you're a fan of basketball, and even people that aren't, big-time fans of it, they watch SportsCenter, you see Durant dropping 30 and 40 like it's casual, hitting game winners. I mean, I have him on my fantasy team, so I definitely appreciate the absurd numbers he's putting up right now.
I bet.
And, I mean, I don't know. I think it's time to turn up the sliders. I mean, Westbrook went out, and he just, he's like, I'm just going to stop missing.
And what's funny is like Reggie Jackson. I don't know if it's like a Scott Brooks thing, if it's a coaching decision, but you watch some of these games and Reggie Jackson's still like icing out Kevin Durant in the fourth quarter or whatever. He's like pulling his best Westbrook impression. But when you're as good as Westbrook, it's kind of
Fucking
okay.
idiot.
But like Reggie Jackson should not ever be handling the ball when Durant's made like 8 in a row.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Shooting the shots.
Yeah.
On NBA Jam, when you're on fire, the ball's on fire, you don't pass.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Because that's a perfect analogy. That's
yeah.
pretty much what he's doing right now. Like, did you
because-
see the
What,
game
he
winner
put
last
30?
night?
Did for the past.
Yeah, I did.
Was that triple teamed? Didn't
Dude,
matter.
they sent a double team from I think the bench. I think they pulled a guy off the bench to run at him and double team him, and he's just like, "No, I'll just go the other way and hit the game winner." Is he the MVP right now? I mean, is there any?
Right
Yeah,
now?
he is. Right.
If they named an MVP
That's
now,
it.
yes, he is.
It's without
Josh-
question.
Josh
And for-
MVP?
I'm chanting MVP right now.
Yeah, Brad. You,
I mean,
you
and for the
But-
record, yeah, I'm a huge LeBron
I think,
fan.
but I don't. As
But it's MVP for Durant right now by far. I mean, look what he's doing, and he's carrying that team. He's shooting a high efficiency too when he's doing it. I mean, he's not out there chucking
Unreal.
shooting 30% or something. He's shooting like 55, 60% in all these games.
right. Well,
So does he think Russell
that's
Westbrook
my
for that?
only problem is what?
I said, does he thank Russell Westbrook for the MVP?
I don't know.
Interesting to see what happens when he comes back, though, Russell. And he needs to come back quick because he's on my motherfucking team.
He needs to come back before the playoffs. They're not going to be able to. He's not going to be able to do this in the playoffs.
He's gonna be back
No.
within 2 weeks. I'm calling it.
You think so? I
Hell
thought he
yeah.
wasn't even like
He
possibly
wasn't
even
supposed
coming
to
back
be,
to the
but-
playoffs.
They said they had a report saying he'd have a surprise game day at the 27th yesterday. I think he'll be back by at least next week.
That would be dope. I'd be down with that.
He always fucking recovers quick somehow.
I'll give some full disclosure that I'm totally
Smoking that
an
marijuana.
Oklahoma City fan, and so watching Durant do this is very, very fun to see. And right now, if you're giving out an MVP award, it's going to Kevin Durant. My issue is I've seen Oklahoma City, and I've seen Durant do this before. They get hot right around the All-Star break, and then they can't continue it. They'll go hot for a month, and then the next month they'll drop like 5 or 6 games they totally should win, and Durant doesn't play very well. So until I see Kevin Durant put together some good months together, I know that sounds really awful because, I mean, he's a great player.
Good months. He's
Exactly.
He's a
That
scoring champ.
that sounds awful, but to keep up the high efficiency, especially if Westbrook comes back, and still shoot high numbers, because I don't think it's Westbrook or Reggie Jackson freezing out Kevin Durant, but I think Kevin Durant, unless he's really feeling it, doesn't like taking all the shots. So, I think that Reggie Jackson does. I think Reggie Jackson does have a problem with, and I think it's a Scott Brooks problem, is the offense just isn't designed to get the ball in Durant's hands sometimes. It's more designed to go, through Reggie Jackson or Russell Westbrook, whoever's playing the point. And then, if Durant happens to get the ball when the ball's moving around, then that's great. But, so I think they need to do a better job of getting the ball in Durant's hands in the fourth quarter, like everyone said. But until Oklahoma City really puts together a good run without James Harden, I'm not going to put a lot of trust and faith in them because
I hope they
I saw what
fucking
they
do it.
did. I saw what they did last year when they lost Westbrook. They turned the Houston series, which should have been a 4-0 sweep, into a 6-game nail-biter, and then they looked completely lost against Memphis.
Well, I think that had more to do with the timing of the injury than anything. I think that, they had him, and then they all of a sudden, it was like the Bulls when R.I.P. when Rose tore his ACL. I think it was like more of the timing than anything, because you saw it was the same team pretty much besides Nate Robinson. Played against the net. I mean, they beat the Nets. Noah was on one leg. Bang was in the hospital.
Yeah.
So it's like I think it was more the timing than anything. With
Yeah,
that. Chris,
and
what do you
Reggie
think?
Jackson-
Is Durant MVP or what?
I think so, but I also have no clue like what LeBron's doing this year or anything else. I'm
He's
really
balling.
terrible NBA fan.
He's
LeBron's
doing his normal thing.
LeBron's waiting till
always
April. He does
LeBron's-
not give.
Yeah.
26
Yeah,
points
that's-
per game, shooting like 58%, just casually dominating.
And tomorrow's game against Miami for Oklahoma City will be a big benchmark. If Durant goes off in that game, then I think that it's all for real. Like he's not just beating up on Golden State, who's not a great defensive team. He's not just beating up on Atlanta. Then that's
Golden
a real.
State's a sneaky good defensive team, though. They're a lot
sneaky
better
good,
than.
but, they're sneaky good, but Oklahoma City always has big games against them. Like if Oklahoma City and Golden State meet up in the playoffs, those games will guaranteed end like 132 to 120. Like they're going to score high volumes of points when they meet. So
Okay.
if Durant goes off tomorrow against Miami, gets like 30 or 40 on a high volume of shooting, then I think you really start putting some faith in Durant for keeping this up long term. That's really the question is, can he keep up the scoring long term at his current pace, especially with Westbrook back?
All right, let's go around. Everybody gets one word. How many points does Durant have tomorrow against Miami? Brad, you first.
33.
That's 2 words.
Crit. Okay. One number. One number. One number. Brad, did you say 33?
Yeah.
Chris?
I'll say 28. He's going to break the streak.
Josh?
Oh.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
Not me, not me. Go
Wait, so
Ryan.
you're saying? Hold on. Time out. Let's
okay.
expand on this, sir. So you're saying LeBron's gonna shut him down? Is that what are you calling that right now?
Or just have an off shooting night or something.
Okay. Josh?
I got 36.
Ryan?
I'll say 30. He just gets there.
I'm saying that tomorrow he drops like 45, and just because he knows he's not oblivious to what tomorrow is. Like he knows.
You know what else is gonna motivate him is what LeBron was talking with about 2 weeks ago about how he wishes he could do what Kevin Durant does and just shoot.
I'm so sick. I'm
Didn't
so
he do
sick
that
of him
for like 6
opening
years
his
in
mouth.
Cleveland?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
I'm a huge LeBron fan, but
and
what a
that's the
stupid
great
thing to
point.
say.
Is that, and people brought that up, is like you had all that time in Cleveland where that was you. The ball was always in your hands, and you got to shoot that high volume. And according to you, you didn't want to do that anymore, so you went to Miami. So I don't know what you're talking about.
They need to have one day a year where they just play LeBron like he did in Cleveland.
I think that'll motivate Kevin. So if Kevin has a good night, I think that's part of it.
Well, here's the thing
kind
with
of get up LeBron a little bit.
Here's the thing with LeBron, though. It's like he cares so much about his field goal percentage that he like refuses to shoot 30 times.
Yeah,
like if he would just start just chucking them up, you know how many points that dude could score if he didn't care about setting his teammates up. And when is he just gonna say, just screw it, I don't care about how many points Norris Cole gets, I'm gonna score every single point. That's what I want to see.
The playoffs.
Yeah.
He doesn't even do that in the playoffs.
Yeah, when he fucking needs
that
it.
game against Boston, that was
an anomaly for him in Miami at least.
Well, he needed that one. I think he needed that. He needed to do that. Like I've never seen, and I'm too young to really remember MJ when he was doing his thing. So I'm just gonna say that was the best performance basketball wise I've ever seen in my life live.
Singular.
Yeah, singular game. I've never seen anything like he was so locked in. He didn't even change his facial expression for 48 minutes.
Didn't blink.
No.
But
I don't think he did. He blink? Did he?
He might not have.
No, I don't.
The
I don't
thing
think he
that
did.
About LeBron's comments about how he wishes he could take all the shots is, Kevin doesn't chuck shots. He shoots a very high percentage, like Brad said.
Yeah.
Like against Golden State when he scored 54, he was like 18 or he's like 20, 26 shooting, something like that. That's crazy.
Which is just as annoying too. Like, could you imagine if that dude shot 42 times?
Well, exactly, and he'd be crazy. Well, I don't think he'd score that many more points because I don't think he'd take great shots.
Well, he gets to the line too.
I think his shots are good shots because he's shooting over everybody, regardless of good shots or not.
But if he had the eye of the tiger like he did against the Spurs in 2012, Game 5 in the fourth quarter or Game 4, where he was just double teamed in the paint the whole time and he just kept hitting turnarounds, like that's when Kevin Durant is on. Like not hitting 3-pointers, it's when he's inside, and that's part of the equation. Is he gets fouled and he gets to the line.
Well, he really is unguardable. I mean, he's 6'11". Got a super wet stroke. I mean, you can't guard him.
The wettest of the wet strokes.
Yeah, he's got a high release. You want a shot. He's not a bad athlete. I mean, clearly he's a high-level NBA player. He's quick. I mean, you can't guard him with anybody, really. I mean, when he makes the shots, there's nothing you can do. It's go home. Ball game.
And he's got that rip through. Don't forget the rip through.
My only problem with Durant is sometimes, and I notice this more, I guess, in the finals than anything, is sometimes he gets a little, I guess lackadaisical is the word, in terms of like, give me the fucking ball. Like he doesn't really like.
He's reluctant. to put the team on his back. It seems.
Yeah,
I bet you it'll come around. He deserves a fucking chance.
He'll grow.
I
mean,
fucking
he'll
hope he
grow,
does.
but
okay, all right. Here's another question number 2 then.
Which
Who
one is
wins
it?
tomorrow? Durant. We've all, other than Chris, everyone says Durant's pretty much just doing his thing, doing normal Durant stuff. But who wins?
Where's it at? OKC or Heat?
I think it's in
Yeah,
Miami.
yeah, I think it's in Miami too. Hold on, let me
I can
check.
check real quick.
I got
I'm pretty-
Miami winning then. Give me
You
the
think
spread.
Miami
too.
wins?
I'll give fucking OKC points.
Okay,
Miami.
all right.
Whatever it is, 1, 2 point, 3, fucking whatever. It is.
Yeah, it's
So
in
you-
Miami.
So it's in Miami. All right, does Miami
Miami
win
wins.
and does LeBron outperform Durant?
No.
What do you mean
that's the-
outperform? Outscore or have a better game?
No, just have a better game. Have a better game to the point where you watch the game and you say, okay,
Clear.
LeBron played better,
I bet
regardless
you-
of points.
I bet you KD's. He's the only player they got right now. It's always gonna come off that he does a better game, in my opinion. I think Heat win though. I say Heat win. KD plays better, I guess, because he gets a little more points. But that's my prediction.
Brad?
I say this is, Miami's at that point where they're starting to get to the All-Star break. Wade still isn't playing a whole lot. Fuck Dwayne Wade. Have to get that out.
I'm with that, bro.
But, I think they start to turn it up, start playing a lot better ball, especially in the defensive end, start turning up the intensity. It's a big game. It's a nationally televised game, I think, on ESPN, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's LeBron and KD. It's all over SportsCenter. No one
And
can
I
stop
think-
KD. LeBron's the best player. There's the narrative along there, and they know that. LeBron knows that, and while he doesn't care about a lot of the regular season, I think he cares about his little mini budding rivalry
sure.
with Kevin Durant. So I think they play well, and I think he does outperform Durant. I think Durant probably scores 33 on less than 50% shooting, and LeBron has one of his 25 and 12 and 7 type games.
So you think Durant's struggling?
I mean, struggling for Durant. If he shoots
Right.
48% and drops 33 points, doing it all on his own against Miami, it's not really struggling.
But
It
compared to
depends.
what he's been doing, that's struggling.
Yeah.
So you're all right, Chris. What do you think? Who's winning tomorrow, and who's having the better game?
Probably Miami is winning, and they actually might have kind of a similar type game, but Miami just has more talent on their team at this point without Westbrook, so I have to give Miami a little bit of an edge there.
Okay, Chris.
But
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, keep going.
I was gonna say, but like he was saying, I think Durant struggles a little bit, not like terribly or anything. As I said, like 28, 29 points. That's even breaking a streak. That isn't breaking it by that much, and that's not a terrible game. But I think LeBron probably does go for one of his like 25 and 10 or 12 or whatever, and 6 or 7 assists.
Close triple doubles every game. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ryan, what do you think?
which you can.
I think you have Durant outscoring LeBron. I think LeBron probably has the better game, like performance-wise, and I think Miami wins by about 5. I think Dwayne Wade said he's going to play tomorrow, and I think that makes
Yeah.
a difference.
I was wondering
Is-
about that.
Yeah, I was
that
about
you
to.
won't-
I was
is
going to ask that.
That you'll have Oklahoma City with no Westbrook. Reggie Jackson's playing good, but he's not a Russell Westbrook type of player who can create a shot and just brings energy to the floor. So I think Oklahoma City loses and Miami wins it. But I think Durant probably outscores LeBron. But I think at the end of the day, because Miami wins, you'll probably say LeBron had the better day.
Here's what I think. I think that it's gonna be. I think Durant's gonna. I think he's just in such a zone right now, and he knows that this game's on national television, and he's against Miami and against LeBron, and he knows. I think this is the game that it's. He just he snaps. He goes for 48. The Thunder win by 10,
I'll take it.
and LeBron kind of just. He's still, he's still the greatest player in the world.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of like he kind of has, because I think Durant knows. Durant knows that if he snaps tomorrow, scores 48, 6 assists, 10 rebounds, like tomorrow's the MVP. If he kills it tomorrow, he doesn't really have its MVP discussion is pretty much over. But I think on the flip side is if LeBron outperforms him, and Durant looks a little lost, and kind of shaky, shoots like 43%, misses like 15 shots ish, then the discussion flips. Then it becomes, well, Durant just had a hot streak, but LeBron's still the MVP. Whereas I think Durant knows that, and I think he's gonna do pretty much whatever the hell he can to make sure that that's not the case.
And I won't be totally surprised if that happens. I would say it's more likely to happen if this game was in Oklahoma City, because I just think that when the crowd's going, Durant plays better. But so I kind of that's why I kind of give the edge to Miami, is it's in Miami.
But
I can totally see. Well, not necessarily that it's going to bother Oklahoma City, but that just not having the Thunder fans behind Durant will kind of not that he won't be energized, but he'd be more energized to do it at home, because
it's one of the best home
Oklahoma City
courts
fans. Yeah, and Oklahoma City fans hate Miami. They don't want to see Miami come in and win a game, so they have that. But I will not be surprised if Durant has a huge game. I still think that Miami wins in my eyes.
How fun would a shootout be? I mean, just real quick, when was the last time there's been a dual 40-point game?
Please.
If they both go off tonight, that'll be great.
I can't see it. I mean, if LeBron starts chucking, I would love it, but I don't know if I could see it.
Like, I wish both of them would stop caring about their field goal percentage for one night.
What?
KD needs to.
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing it now.
If KD has a night like that, where at the end of the third quarter he's got 35 or something like that, then LeBron is going to start taking tons of shots.
Yeah, I can. Fourth quarter gets going. Yeah.
Because they're going to be guarding each other. Like they're going to be like. I hope it doesn't turn into one of those where LeBron gets so. Because I'm gonna preface this by saying I'm the driver of the anti-LeBron bandwagon. There's only like 3 people in the back right now. It's a pretty cavernous wagon. But
it's gotten smaller.
Add one more.
It's please hop on, dude. We need you, man. It's getting boring over here. There's me and just 2 random white dudes that I just no. They're like old. They're like 80. They keep talking about Bill Russell. I have no fucking clue what to say.
His name's Larry Bird. Show some respect.
Yeah. No, but I mean, seriously though, how awesome would that be? Like,
Great.
Like, just like Brad said, like a shootout would just be the best thing ever.
I mean,
like,
when was the last time we had one of those?
Seriously.
2 40-point, dual real contests. I know there's been since then, but the last time I can really think of like a historic that stuck in my memory is Paul Pierce and LeBron in like 08. I mean, that was in the playoffs, so it's a little more memorable. But those dudes let's play ball.
And it's the 2 best players by far. Like, there's no one that can. I mean, you might get a Pacers fan wherever they are to say that Paul George is better than somebody, but I mean, these are the 2 best players in the world.
Head and shoulders.
It's not even really like a discussion, really. No. I don't think.
No, it's not.
I mean, is there anyone other than Pacers fans like that would think that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think even Pacer fans would be that delusional to think that Kevin Durant is not at least the second best player in the NBA, with LeBron being first.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I'm pretty.
You might get
the best player in the world. I don't think that's really debatable. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Until Kevin wins an NBA title, he's not going to be thought of as the top player. Unfortunately.
I've just never seen a player control both sides of the floor like LeBron does. It's just kind of.
Yeah.
I mean,
just it kind of.
As a big fan of him, it's amazing. I mean, the stuff he does and just makes it look routine.
Yeah.
LeBron has a sick tomahawk dunk. His shooting's even improved.
What's his 3-point percentage right now?
Like probably 41.
I say fucking literally go over every motherfucking screen, make him shoot a motherfucking 3. Spurs did a good job in their fucking series, NBA Finals last year.
They put Diaw on him, and we're just like, shoot, because we know you don't want to.
You got it. That's his weakest link right there. And
what he dropped in the last couple of games, I mean, he didn't shoot well in Game 6. He just went no headband, no problem mode, and that was insane.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. But I mean, Game 7 he played well. He had 30, I want to say 38 or something like that, and shot pretty high percentage.
Yeah,
Did
but
that
that's the thing is he can shoot now. That's why you can't just do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Spurs knew that he didn't want to.
Yeah.
The Spurs knew that he
knows this is
wanted to
weakest
just.
link. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Spurs. I mean, Popovich ain't no
Fuck
dummy.
yeah.
He knows what he's talking
Fucking
about.
wow.
He's a thug.
Yeah.
bro.
The best.
Yeah, right, exactly. All right,
I've got-
so there's. Oh, did you have another? Go ahead. Go
Yeah, I
ahead.
just got a little interesting little tidbit since Brad has his Supersonics hat on and we're talking Durant. That last Friday was the first time since the Thunder moved from Seattle that Westbrook and Durant have not played in a game.
Yeah,
Interesting.
how crazy is
Yeah.
that? That franchise has 2 top 10 players. They've been around for how many years? Like 6?
Well, like
fuck,
40
man?
some if you count the Seattle days, but because
Well,
Durant did play a season in
LeBron's shooting
Seattle.
37% right now.
From 3?
But
Yeah.
Let
the
him
Thunder,
shoot.
the Thunder have been in Oklahoma City since 2008. To answer your question,
Him and Collison, baby. Durant and Collison.
yeah, they're the last two
Thunder
Seattle players.
legends.
I like Steve.
Shout out to the Iowa boy, Nick Carlson.
Is he from Iowa?
I
He
think
played
so.
at KU.
That's a shame.
He's from Iowa, though.
Yeah, well,
That's
just
a
like
Harrison
like
Barnes, Doug
I
McDermott,
can't think of his name
Harrison
right now.
Barnes is from
Cassell.
Iowa?
Ames
Yeah,
High,
sure.
dude.
Oh, that's right. He did go there. That's right.
Knew that. That's news.
Him and
They were on the
McDermott.
same team, weren't they?
Yeah,
McDermott
Yeah,
and
they're,
him?
Yeah, I knew
they're in
that.
the same high school.
Holy shit.
I thought they were on the same AAU team. Who did he play AAU with? Didn't he play with Kyrie or something?
I have no idea.
I think he played with Kyrie in AAU.
Who's this, Harrison?
Yeah.
Yeah, Harrison Barnes.
Interesting.
They're both from Ames, Iowa. Yeah, people don't know that.
I did not know that.
Harrison was the shit coming out of high school. They loved him. Yeah.
He was up for what, freshman All-American before he played
Yeah,
a game, or
preseason.
All-American before
Yeah.
preseason before he played a game. I mean, that's
crazy. Holy shit.
and then he went to North Carolina and
Fuck you, Vincent.
like an idiot. All right, so let's get serious for a second because we've been super serious this whole time.
This is a serious show.
This is our last topic, I'd say. This whole union thing from this Northwestern quarterback, King Coulter, Chicago's Big Ten team represent. He's saying he's saying that he's trying to get this players union for what do you say for like workman's comp and like injury protection or
Yeah.
something like that. Which I mean, I get it. But let's go around the horn real quick, get everybody's thoughts. Chris, what do you?
Name drop.
Yeah, I didn't even mean to do that. I swear to God.
Right.
Chris, what do you? What's your opinion on this whole union nonsense?
I haven't read that much of it or heard that much about it because I've been at work all day. But if it's just for like injuries and stuff, it seems like that's something that should be like they should be covered anyway. And this like I know there was a discussion. Some of us or all of us posted on IGN. There was a discussion about that today, like guaranteed scholarships, and I can see why maybe if you don't live up to your athletic expectations on the field, why you could be dropped from your scholarship. But I don't think that they should be able to drop you from your scholarship if you like go out there and tear your ACL your freshman year and then you can't play after that. It seems like you should at least be able to finish out your education if you can't play in that case. Other than that, I don't exactly know what else he's looking for, so I'm not entirely sure and can't really give an opinion on most of it.
Brad, where you at?
I mean, I don't know. With injuries, you would think that, yeah, they would be covered with it. I think a lot of people thought that this is going to turn into a pay our players type thing, which it's not. There's a big misconception that it's going to be paid. So I don't think it's that big of a deal, and it kind of does seem like a common sense type thing. I think the union, I mean, how much power they're actually going to have, it'll be interesting to see like if that evolves into something. Some people are saying, it could get to the point where we're not going to play this game unless we start being compensated, for our play, and that's a whole separate issue that really gets in. It's a big divide there. But as far as the union, I mean, if you get hurt, yeah, you should be covered for it because they aren't getting paid. So if you break your leg or tear an ACL, the medical bills should be covered. That seems like common sense to me.
But I think most schools do that. I don't think that's like a very common thing for them not to cover it, right? I mean, maybe I'm just being ignorant. I think most schools do that, right? Like they pay for it.
See, I thought that, and then that was one of the, part of the union thing. So I didn't. I mean, I think when you think of the bigger schools and some of the premier like Division I schools, but you got to think.
There's no fucking way their families are paying. I can't see their families paying for it. Like, using their insurance or whatever insurance they have, if they have it, to pay for their injuries. I feel like the school would definitely pay. I guess.
I think we'd be surprised to find out, what actually a scholarship covers as far as injury.
But I mean,
I know there was one Northwestern player today who posted on Reddit about what they're trying to accomplish with this. And from what it sounds like, it's not we just want to get paid because we think we should get merchandise and memorabilia sales. It was more they want to make sure that their scholarships are actually covering their full cost of school, so like room and board, books, meal plans, stuff like that, which I can't fault them for that. And they want to also make sure that if they do happen to suffer some serious injury, that their scholarship at least kind of guarantees that the school's going to help them out a little bit. And, can you really fault a person for wanting that? If you're going to play a sport where you're putting yourself at serious risk on every play to have your knee blown out or something worse, I would want to make sure that I was, covered somewhat by the school that is putting me out there on the field. And, the player brought up a good point. He said, this isn't about getting paid because if you manage your stipend that they get and their scholarship, if you manage it well enough, it'll last you the month. Just like if you get work checks, you got to manage your money properly. If you go to Best Buy and go spend, blow $100 on beef, then yeah, you're going to be hungry at the end of the month. Just like if you go work a minimum wage job. I think we'll move to paying players something for memorabilia at some point, but I don't think this is what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, but I think that that's just kind of unrealistic to expect them to live the lifestyle that they're pretty much pressured and forced into living, to expect them to do that.
Yeah.
But I think with this whole union thing, I think it's the word union, and you throw that into there, I think that's what kind of gets people a little shaky, because, if these players want to go and form a union and unionize, can't the schools just be like, okay, find somewhere else to play football, and we'll get kids that would like the opportunity without this? I mean, I might also just be ignorant to that, but I think that that's just kind of, right? Am I right about that? I don't know.
Yeah, I think you are to a point. I don't know. I don't think schools are just going to, say it's not worth the trouble. And I think that eventually there'll be some. And I think you're right that the word union is what is scaring people here. That they think that these players are going to go on strike or something. And I don't think that's what they're trying to accomplish. They're just trying to get something. Really, what else is there for them left to do? And for people to say, well, don't play college football then. Well, if you want to go play in the NFL, you have to play college football. There's no alternative. You can't sit out for 3 years. You can't go play in Europe. You can't go play, it's not like the NBA where you can go play overseas for a year if that's your choosing, and then go play in the NBA. There's no minor league or farm system anywhere for football that is a realistic path to the NFL.
And I think you're making the school's argument for them, though. I think that's what they would tell these kids.
Yeah, that's what they're going to tell them, but I don't think that the schools are going to necessarily leave these athletes out in the cold either, because they're not going to. I don't know who the number one recruit in the country is right now for college football, but let's just assume that he was going to join this union. Do you think Nick Saban is really going to say, well, we're just not going to recruit him anymore? They're going to find some way to work it,
Nick Saban saying, boy, you're already getting paid. You're going to Bama. So
basically, yeah. But, yeah, they're just going to have to figure out how they're going to have to work together, basically. And eventually it's going to turn into somehow, some way, these players are going to get some slice of the pie. It's just a matter of how big it is, when they're getting it, and, how they're going to go about it correctly. Because, quite honestly, they deserve some of it. I mean, you could say that, they get a great opportunity to go to world-class institutions and play a game, but at the same time, they shouldn't be expected to live in poverty while they're doing it.
I think that's opening just up a whole different can of worms, though, than this can of worms that this Northwestern quarterback decided to open. Josh, where are you at on this?
I did not work today, and I did not read it at all either, and I have no opinion. No, but I agree. I really haven't read it or looked up on any of it. I think, I agree with all you guys are saying. I think it should be covered. I mean, you think it'd be covered. It's kind of like common sense.
Yeah, I thought it was.
I don't know. I mean, I really don't have much of an opinion. I've honestly not read any of it. I'm not up to date with it at all. But I do agree, I mean, with what all you guys are saying. You guys are pretty much dead on.
I'd like to add in that just from hearing Kane Coulter speak, I'm a Nebraska fan, so obviously I follow the Big Ten, and just from hearing Kane Coulter speak, on matters for this, Kane Coulter's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing, so he's not going to go.
Northwestern, bro.
Yeah, he's not going to go into
love.
So obviously, if you're going to have someone represent all college athletics in a matter like this, Kane Coulter is probably a guy you want doing this because Kane Coulter has his head in the right place.
Either him or Derek Fisher, yeah.
Then there will be a strike.
I think this may be a little bit of my conspiracy theorist coming out, but I think he's just doing this just to get some press.
Try to be relevant.
Yeah, I think that has something to do with it, more so than him really giving a shit about this. Or maybe, I don't know, I might just be naive on that, but I don't know. I don't know this guy personally, but I think that's part of what this whole thing is. To get him some tick on the bottom line,
Well, if that's his end game, that's working. But
it's true.
I guess I have. I guess you're thinking of it more of a crueler intention thing. I'm thinking of it as I generally think he's doing this for the right reasons. I don't know if it'll get him anywhere. I personally don't think it will. At least not while he's in college. But someone's got to start somewhere.
I mean, okay, let's go around round table here. In 10 years, is there a student college athlete union? Chris, you first.
There might be at some schools. I don't know how exactly it would work at state schools and states where unions are pretty much illegal or not recognized. So I don't exactly know how that would work nationally, but some private schools and stuff, I could definitely see it possibly happening.
Brad?
I think in 10 years, yeah, we will see some sort of organization for the athletes requiring, I mean, whether it's just a basic coverage, which seems like it should be common sense, or even some sort of compensation for play or the memorabilia. I think there will be in 10 years. I mean, 10 years is a long time, so.
That's why I put it out there.
Yeah.
Duh.
Josh? Josh, what do you think?
I would say in 10 years, yes.
Yeah?
Thanks to Obama. No, yeah,
Thanks.
I would say 10
Your
years
boy.
for sure.
Your boy Obama.
Your boy. Your Chicago.
Nah, that ain't my boy.
Shout out to Barry.
Oh.
Oh, that ain't my boy.
No, I'd say in 10 years, I think there'll be some sort. I don't know for all schools, but there'll definitely be some sort of union going, helping these ballers out.
Ryan?
I would say there will be some organization that they'll have, whether it's a union or not. The way I would picture it would probably be that the conferences would set something up. So you'd have you have an NFL players union, you'd have a Big Ten players union, and not just for football. You'd have all sports, and that's kind of where it gets into a gray area. Is where do you cut it off? Is it just the money-making sports, or is it all the sports? And I think there will be something in place to where you'll have football and men's basketball players getting some sort of compensation and being covered while they're playing.
That makes sense. But is it in a unionized form? That's totally different than here's this amount of money for being this athlete.
That's why I say that there'll be a NFL or there's an NFL Players Association. There'll be something like the Big Ten Players Association. All the Big Ten member schools will pay in to basically budget it out, pay into this fund, and then the money will be dispersed as necessary for each conference, basically, because once one conference or one school does it, it's going to be a domino effect because you're going to fall behind in recruiting. That's what it comes down to. If one school does this, one prominent BCS school does this, it's going to happen within 5 years for all schools at all levels of football bowl subdivision at least.
I just think that I don't think that it could ever happen in the way that that Coulter's like trying to make it happen. Just because for the same reason it doesn't happen in other workplaces. I mean, because let's be honest, they're employees of the NCAA really, and you want to say they're student athletes. You can say they're student athletes, but let's all be real with each other for a second. But I think that it won't happen for the same reason that it doesn't happen in workplace. Like if you guys want to unionize, fine, but we'll just find someone else to do it. Like we'll find somebody else to do the job. Like I'm sure there's tons of kids out there that would rather go to Alabama than another school.
Yeah, but will those
be like,
kids,
whoa, we won't unionize. I don't care.
Yeah, but will those kids be good enough to go to Alabama? Is Alabama going to afford their program slipping off the map because they don't want to union, or they don't want to those good players that are going to unionize?
No, but I think the threat of that will be what takes away. You know what I mean? I think the threat of it is enough to where it doesn't happen. Like I don't know. I don't mean to compare real life to The Office, but do you guys remember the episode of The Office where they're all like, "Yeah, we should make a union." Daryl's getting all jacked up, and then Jan comes down and she's like, "Listen, you guys want to be a union? We'll just fire all of you and hire new people." Like I think that then you can break it down as simple as that, almost. I don't know.
I may start playing some college football. Get my
Well,
football
that-
years in.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good point. I would say that it's probably easier to find 100 office workers than it is to field a college football team.
Well, right.
So-
That's right. At the same
So-
time, you're.
So at the same
Let's go to
time,
the
well-
projects.
So
Yeah.
while I disagree
Jesus
with you,
Christ.
so while I agree with you that they can threaten that way, I also disagree that there's not going to be enough, high-level talent that is not willing, that will be willing to go and play under the guise of the current NCAA if this comes to fruition. Also, you got to think in 10 years, if there is some sort of union, will the NCAA even be involved? Is the NCAA even going to be around in 10 years, or will these
Probably
big-time
not.
football schools have broken off and done their own thing? If they break off from the NCAA, then I think it is extremely likely that there is some sort of union in place for these players, whether or not it is in the sense that Kane Coulter is thinking of, or in the sense of where they're just getting paid just like regular athletes in the NFL or otherwise. I think it just starts with stripping away the amateur tag, because let's face it, they're not amateur athletes. This is not kids running around playing a game. This is big business happening, and big businesses need to protect themselves.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, I think that's a good place to stop for the first episode. You guys have a good time? I had a good time. Everybody have a good
Loved
time?
it.
It was
Yeah.
very smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, quick question though. Were we recording this the whole time?
No, not at all.
Are we recording or not?
No, we fucked up.
Ah, shit.
We got to do it over.
All right. Well,
Wow.
this was the first episode of hopefully many to come in the Are We Recording Yet podcast.